Hey everybody, welcome to day 290. So quickly, I want to start off with my diet because I get asked this question pretty often. So I've gone over it before. My first meal is always the same. It's oatmeal, spinach, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and a little bit of sugar and water. And also I have on the side a banana and a scoop of whey protein. Do I think whey protein is the best protein source? No. This is the diet that I use just because it's quick, convenient. It's not a lot of cleanup time. So my second meal after I'm done training, two small bean and cheese burritos, a bag of vegetables. It's like 4 servings and a granola bar. Sometimes, well, when I have to cut my calories, the granola bar goes, but and a scoop of whey protein. And then finally, before bed, I have another scoop of whey protein and just a handful of berries, whatever I want, more strawberries, blueberries, or raspberries, or whatever. And then, yeah, as the diet gets deeper, I'll take out the berries at the end. The granola bar goes when I need to cut calories. And then even the first meal, from one banana, I'll start to go to a half a banana from my I start cutting away the amount of oatmeal or the amount of sugar that I put in, etc. But whether I'm bulking or cutting, those first two meals, I have those first two meals. When I'm bulking, the proportions will go up even more on the first two meals for sure. And then the third meal, that's where I go crazy with the calories. But yeah, so I got that question quite often. I'm not telling you to copy it. I'm not telling you it's the best. That's just what I do. Works for me. So you saw there, I had pogo jumps and sled sprints, 40 pounds only on the sled sprint. It was raining earlier, but it wasn't raining here, so the ground was dry, so I was able to do those. And then we work up to max overhead press today. So I track my overhead press by body in relation to my body weight, how many pounds over body weight or under that I am. My best is like 16.4 pounds over body weight, which I got at the end of last training cycle. My numbers had indicated that I was pretty close to that up until last week. Last week I saw a drop in performance. So today being 212.4 pounds, my goal, I did 195 for 3 last workout. So my goal, knowing that, was just to try to get 215. So that was 195 and here's 215. Hey, come on! Hey! Hey! Okay, so 215 good, then I go for 220. Okay, so 220 wasn't there. Then we go down to 146 and a half. The reason why I did this was the second workout I did doing dynamic pressing after I started doing the isometrics. I hit a pound for pound PR on a set of 15. So I'm going for another pound for pound PR set of 15. I wanted to see if the drop off in performance over the last 2 weeks was due to upping the weight and decreasing the reps, that I just wasn't neurally ready for the heavier weight, or if my performance in general dropped off. And you see here, I only got 13 reps. So my performance dropped off 2 reps, which is basically the same strength that I saw that it was down last week. My single might have been slightly better than my performance last week would lead you to believe, but this is about the drop in performance that I saw. So now the question becomes, why over the last 2 weeks, at first the isometrics were doing well and now they haven't? Why is there that drop? Well, the first thing I want to keep in mind is I've done training cycles where I was just doing overhead press. I did over 30 sets of overhead press a week, training the pressing movement every other day. And I finished 2 pounds over body weight, same as you see here. it was a 252-pound overhead press weighing 250 pounds. So it's the same. Again, you might not think body weight affects overhead press that much. I can tell you I do. And I know because I track my body weight in my training cycles, and I have logbook after logbook after logbook of training cycles, and I've trained hundreds of people, and I can tell you exactly, what's going to happen. So you also have to keep in mind, if I had just been training my overhead dynamically, and I took however long I took off of upper body, 6 to 7 weeks, and then jump back into dynamic training, let's say 3 sets every other day and a set of triceps, what would my results have been? I would expect my strength to be about at where it's at right now, or maybe even worse, to be honest. And that dynamic work would take me well over an hour. When I did like 10 plus or 7 to 10 sets a day on that overhead press cycle, where I got 252 weighing 250, that would take me an hour and 45 minutes just on that. These isometrics, 3 isometrics for overhead and 1 for triceps, takes me under 5 minutes. So even if the strength was the same, this is still so much more time efficient. And my last, so I've already figured out that if I want my overhead press as high as I can get it, I need to include bench press with it, because the bench press works so many more muscles that training the overhead by itself doesn't push it high enough. And training the push press helps too. Probably the push-ups and the dips. So just like you saw me doing the last training cycle. So I have a couple different options here. Now, it could be that my body adapted to the isometrics. It accommodated to it, and then I'm no longer getting any stimulus, and I'm actually regressing from it over the last 2 weeks. That's a possibility. But the other possibility, which I think is a lot more likely, is just the fatigue and the energy levels at this point in the diet. Even though that the weight is matched on a relative basis, the pressing strength can't keep up with the fatigue that I'm feeling and the lack of energy that I'm feeling. Like I said, the diet always affects the pressing muscles the most, 100%. And obviously the chin-up's doing very well. And for me, I don't care about upper body, but of course you want to look halfway decent. If I look at my upper body physique and say I can have this physique by doing 3 minutes a day of isometrics, it's a no-brainer. So it'll be interesting to see if I continue with isometrics while I'm, maintenance or on a bulk, if I can see the same sort of results. And then also we can see by adding in switching overhead and maybe dip isometrics back and forth, we can also see what the results will be there. Overall, I would say I'm definitely happy with the experiment. Of course, I was led to believe that I was in a better shape, which if I didn't diet, I might have still been in that shape. So it's not that big of a deal. And also, since it's so quick, and if I was really interested in pushing the upper body, I could throw, instead of 3 attempts at it, I could throw 10 attempts at it. Instead of 1, tricep isometric, I can do 4 tricep isometrics and see what the results are from there. So it's very promising. We'll definitely talk about it more in the future, but I don't want to ramble on too much. So thanks everyone for listening. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.